Did Margaret Thatcher's economic policies lead Britain to prosperity, or widen the gap between the rich and the poor? This question sparks a debate that has raged for decades, ever since the Iron Lady herself took the helm of Britain's economic ship in 1979. Margaret Thatcher, a grocer's daughter from Grantham, was not just any leader. She was the first woman to ever hold the office of Prime Minister in the United Kingdom, and she arrived with a determination to steer Britain's economy in a new direction. The post-war consensus, which had held sway for more than 3 decades, was about to be dismantled. Under the post-war consensus, Britain's economy was characterized by nationalized industries, strong labor unions, and high taxes on the wealthy. But Thatcher had a different vision. She believed in the power of the free market, in competition, and in individualism. These beliefs would guide her economic policies throughout her time in office. One of the key pillars of Thatcher's economic strategy was privatization. She set about selling off state-owned industries like British Telecom, British Gas, and British Airways, believing that private ownership would lead to greater efficiency and better service for consumers. Deregulation was another cornerstone of Thatcher's approach. She cut red tape and removed government controls in sectors like finance and housing, giving businesses more freedom to operate and innovate. Tax cuts, particularly for the wealthy, were also a significant part of Thatcher's economic agenda. She slashed the top rate of income tax from 83% to 60%, and later to 40%, arguing that this would encourage entrepreneurship and investment. Lastly, Thatcher took on the powerful labor unions with a series of anti-union laws designed to reduce their influence and control over the economy. This radical shift in economic policy came to be known as Thatcherism. It was a bold, controversial approach that would leave a lasting impact on Britain's economy and society. But was it the right approach? Did it lead to prosperity, or only serve to widen the gap between the rich and the poor? These are the questions we will explore as we delve deeper into the legacy of the Iron Lady. The immediate effects of Thatcher's policies were as dramatic as the woman herself. The 1980s saw a surge in economic growth that was nothing short of remarkable. One of the most striking features of this period was the housing market boom. The right-to-buy policy, which allowed council house tenants to purchase their homes at a discount, led to a significant increase in home ownership. This, in turn, created a ripple effect, stimulating the construction industry and boosting consumer spending. But that wasn't the only thing that changed. London began to rise as a global financial hub, thanks in large part to Thatcher's deregulation of financial markets. Known as the Big Bang, this move led to an influx of foreign investment and transformed the City of London into the international powerhouse it is today. Yet for all the prosperity these policies brought, they were not without their drawbacks. The same deregulation that spurred growth in the financial sector also led to an increase in speculative trading, contributing to the financial crises that would come later. Moreover, the shift towards a free market economy led to the closure of many traditional industries, particularly in the north. Unemployment rates soared, and social unrest followed. The miners' strikes of the mid-80s were a stark reminder of the human cost of economic change. And while the rich got richer, the poor were left behind. The gap between the haves and the have-nots widened, creating a divide that is still felt today. The pursuit of economic efficiency came at the expense of social equality, a trade-off that remains a point of contention. In short, the immediate aftermath of Thatcher's policies was a mixed bag. On the one hand, there was undeniable economic growth and a newfound sense of dynamism. On the other hand, there was social upheaval and a growing divide between the rich and the poor. The 80s were indeed a time of economic boom, but not everyone was invited to the party. Thatcher's reign ended in 1990, but her influence on the British economy did not. As we moved into the 21st century, the economic landscape of the UK still bore the indelible imprint of Margaret Thatcher's policies. The privatization and deregulation that were cornerstones of her economic strategy continued unabated, shaping the nation's fortunes in ways both good and bad. In the decades following Thatcher's departure, the UK saw a continued push toward privatization. Industries once under state control were handed over to private corporations, a move that spurred competition, innovation and growth. There was a certain dynamism, a sense of economic vitality that was, in many ways, a direct result of Thatcher's free market convictions. Deregulation too, a key tenet of Thatcherism, continued to be a significant force in the UK economy. By loosening the reins on business, the UK became a more attractive destination for international investment. London, already a global financial hub, grew even more influential, its skyline dotted with the shiny glass towers of multinational corporations. But this was not a story of unmitigated success. The 2008 financial crisis, a global disaster that sent shockwaves through economies around the world, had its roots in the very policies that Thatcher championed. The laissez-faire approach to finance, the belief that markets should be left to their own devices, contributed to a climate of reckless speculation and risky investment. When the bubble burst, it was ordinary people who bore the brunt of the fallout. The long shadow of Thatcherism also cast a pall over the UK's social landscape. As wealth accumulated at the top, income inequality widened. The rich grew richer while the poor struggled to keep pace, a divide that has only deepened in the years since the financial crisis. Thatcher's economic legacy is a complex one, marked by both growth and crisis. Her influence, for better or worse, continues to shape the UK's economy, a testament to the enduring power of her ideological convictions. As we move forward into an uncertain economic future, the lessons of Thatcherism, both positive and negative, remain more relevant than ever. One of the most significant long-term impacts of Thatcher's policies is the growing wealth inequality in the UK. This is not just a statement, but a reality that has been unfolding since the 1980s. The wealth gap, the difference in net worth between the richest and the poorest, has been steadily increasing. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer. This isn't a new phenomenon, but it has been accelerated by the policies implemented during Thatcher's tenure. Thatcher's economic approach, often referred to as Thatcherism, championed the free market, deregulation and privatization. While these policies spurred economic growth and opportunity, they also led to a concentration of wealth among the upper echelons of society. The privatization of public utilities, for example, resulted in significant windfalls for those who could afford to buy shares. Meanwhile, the deregulation of financial markets led to a boom in the City of London, benefiting the already affluent and leaving others behind. Thatcher's government also pursued policies that reduced the power of trade unions, contributing to a decline in wage growth for workers. This further exacerbated income inequality. At the same time, reductions in public spending led to less investment in social services, further disadvantaging the less well-off. Wealth inequality isn't just about dollars and cents, or pounds and pence in this case. It's about opportunities, access to resources, and quality of life. When the wealth gap widens, it's not just the poor who suffer. Society as a whole becomes less cohesive, less stable, and less able to respond to challenges. The legacy of Thatcher's economic policies is complex and multifaceted. They undeniably transformed the UK's economic landscape, fostering a spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation. But they also led to an increase in wealth inequality, a trend that continues to this day. The Iron Lady's economic legacy continues to shape the UK for better or worse. And as we grapple with the consequences of this growing wealth gap, it's clear that Thatcher's influence is far from over. Margaret Thatcher's economic policies have had a profound and lasting impact on the UK. The Iron Lady's reign brought about immediate economic growth, a feat that cannot be denied. However, this growth was not without its long-term consequences. The shadow of Thatcherism looms large over the UK, shaping its economic landscape in ways that continue to be felt today. The most significant of these is the growing wealth inequality. Thatcher's policies, while boosting the economy in the short term, have also contributed to a widening wealth gap that has left a significant portion of the population struggling to keep up. This is the bitter aftertaste of the Thatcher era, an era of growth and prosperity, but also of deepening division and inequality. Remember to subscribe for more insightful videos on history, economics, and more. What other topics would you like us to cover? Comment below.